Hey guys, what's going on? It's Attorney Volk here, and it's been a little bit. I wanted to make a video just to update people, let people know that the channel's not dead or anything. I'm not sick of MK1. I still like the game and everything. But if you're in the know in the gaming landscape, you know that the Elden Ring expansion, Shadow of the Erdtree, came out about a week ago now, and that's where I've been. I decided I wanted to just take a sizable break from MK and just grind the fuck out of Shadow of the Erdtree. And I've been having a lot of fun with it, but feeling ready to come back to playing MK again. And I've also been silently observing the discourse around the patches that have happened recently and all that. And I just thought I'd do some commentator ranked and talk about my feelings about things with the game and with where things are going. One of my biggest frustrations right now with the community at this point is I think the reaction to the two patches we had post Final Combat have been kind of hysterical, and I think they're really short-sighted reactions. It's obvious to me that these are they're trying out these nerfs just to see how these changes to the game pan out for when they do a big patch when Takeda comes out. I think that's pretty obvious what they're doing. And people are upset about characters getting nerfs, blah, blah, blah. Most of these nerfs, all they're doing is making the skill cap of the game higher. There are people who are going to say it's not true, or they're going to use... I'm going to have to do a video soon about how players who have ego tied to the character they play is they say that nerfs are not fun, quote unquote. Whatever the fuck that means. Whenever you hear somebody who plays fighting games say something is not fun, it almost always translates into I can't steamroll my opponent, therefore it's bad. That's all it means. I don't have easy access to a really favorable situation for my character, or I can't get my character's win condition from layer 1 of Yomi, so therefore it's no fun. That's usually what it comes down to from my perspective when people cry about nerfs. Now, if you take away things like, cool tech and things like that, that's stuff I understand. I've always understood that. But that's usually not what people are complaining about. They just don't like any change to their character they perceive as negative, and they don't know how to see the big picture and see what's good for the game, in my opinion. It's embarrassing, to be honest. I can't believe I play this game, and I choose to put myself in this scene with the people that you see online crying about the game all the time. Fact of the matter is, at least in my opinion, this is NRS's best game. Their best game. From MK9 onward, this is the best MK they've ever made, full stop. I kind of want to make some videos that are more granular talking about that. But I believe this game is the perfect balance of everything they've tried to do since NRS was born. And I think that I think people who are asking for things like a non-cameo mode, asking for this or that to be changed about the way certain characters operate, or even worse, people who downplay characters that are just straight up good, obviously good. I just don't think these people should be listened to. I think one of the big problems is I think because MK is more mainstream, right? There is this assumption, and I think it's one of the worst things, especially in American consumer culture, which is the idea the customer is always right. When any game designer or anyone who works in game balance will tell you the customer is pretty much always wrong. If they actually knew what game designers were looking at compared to the people that play the game all the time, they would maybe understand, or they just wouldn't be able to get it. And that is kind of a problem. Is MK, unfortunately, sits in this middle ground where it's a fighting game, so it's not, mainstream per se, but it's the most mainstream fighting game. So you attract a lot of these weird consumers' rights losers who don't understand how game dev actually works, right? I'm someone who I like video games are like a passionate enthusiast hobby for me, and I love indulging in them as like works of art and things to get good at, you know, like stimulating tasks to improve at. And the thing about it for me is I understand this, and I'm gonna sound really pretentious, like holier than thou, but it is true. Like, I understand more about how this shit works and why some of these things that people get upset with, like nerfs, are fine, not only fine, but good for games. But yeah, I think that's the main problem. When you're attracting like the Call of Duty audience and the Diablo audience, like, they're gonna end up with some of the worst voices wanting to be heard about their opinions on the game. So, here's the problem too, is, because of, like, the negative direction that most of the content and conversation around this game has, you don't have too many people who are actually being champions for the game and trying to talk about things in an in-depth manner that would make people see the light on this game, at least in my opinion. Like, in my opinion, this game has a very good mix of neutral, of dirt. It accommodates a lot of different play styles. People keep saying this game is nothing but offense, 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 but if you watch Final Combat, defense was the winning factor in Final Combat, no matter what anyone wants to say, man. It was the absolute winning factor. People who could reliably flawless block to reduce chip, people who had good reads with their armor, who could play like a lot of mind games with the way their pressure cameos worked. Like, there was a lot of high-level stuff going on in Final Combat. Yeah, it didn't look good for the game that 90% of what was going on was based around, what do you call it? It was based around, how do I put this? Based around, like, Johnny and Peacemaker. Although that wasn't a Johnny and Peacemaker problem. That was a, problem relating to Chameleon. The actual problem of this game. I do kind of want to make a video talking about, what I actually think about the nerfs, because, like, anyway, just to close that out. Anyway, yeah, like, I understand some of people's frustrations, but some of it does also kind of come down to the fact that because they believe this is the highest skill gap NRS game, you do have a problem with there are people who they were just so used to the way that NRS games used to operate before that they have been able to adapt. It is just a fact, and even in some ways, like, I didn't like MK11 for various reasons, right? But I did like MK11 in what it was trying to aim for. I was very vocal about that. I liked the ideas of MK11, except maybe the regenerating meter, which I don't think was a good idea. Like, I even thought the wake-up system was a good idea. The problem was NRS just didn't implement enough call and response into the game, right? Like, I thought wake-up roll and stuff like that was fine and was good for the game. What needed to happen, though, that they didn't do, is what really needed to happen was you needed to have, how do I put this? you needed to have like the options if you called out things like wake up roll needed to be better than the wake up roll. Like things like crushing blows, they were ripe for allowing you to do stuff like call out the wake up options, but because crushing blows were only useful once and other things like that, it just didn't work out right. Like if you could have, for example, if you could have always how do I put this? If you could have always like crushing blow through a wake up roll, then I think you wouldn't have people bitching about forward roll in that game. You wouldn't have. But that was the problem, is that they implemented these mechanics that were meant to make the mind games and the Yomi deeper, and that they didn't apply the things on the next layer, beyond layer 1, to add that depth into the game. That was, in my opinion, that was the big problem with that game overall. That and the way that, you know, the custom variation system panned out as far as like what it turned the game into. So in this game, like, I'm not really get scalp diddle while I'm recording a vlog. How embarrassing. If I scalp diddle while recording a vlog, that would be so funny. Just trying to see if I can plug things up for him or not. That normal does way too much damage. Anyway, so I think this game has the best base to draw from. I think it has a very nice, it's a very nice middle ground of everything they ever tried since MK9. I do believe that. I think this is a great game. And I don't know, man. If you really think that people are shills just because they say they like the game, I don't know what to tell you, bro. You're the one that's living in a fantasy land, is all I have to say. That's characters. See if I can fraud. That was good, that was good. Anyway, so yeah, I don't like the way that people talk about when things get nerfed in this game, because they act like somehow their fun is being neutered. So what does it even mean, right, when someone says that the game is not fun, or it's made less fun because my character got these nerfs or whatever? Notice how it's only ever, the game is only ever not fun when their character has to work harder. Right, like, and you're kind of noticing this in a lot of instances where you're seeing, how do I put it? You're seeing a lot of people who, they complain that a lot of the current fighting games are mentally exhausting, right? So this is a thing you see a lot, is in like Street Fighter 6, in Tekken 8, in this game, is that they're mentally exhausting to play. Well, if the game is mentally exhausting and tiring to play, that means it's a good fighting game. It's a fighting game that has like substantial depth to it. People say this game doesn't have depth to it. In some ways, I mean, sure, it doesn't. It doesn't, I guess. But in other ways, like I said, it's the deepest fighter NRS has ever made. Yeah, scrub character. Anyway, so I don't know. But I do think the reaction to the patches has been hysterical. It's definitely hysterical. Peacemaker and Johnny are not bad, or they're not even worse. All those nerfs did for those characters was make them have to think harder. And people don't want to do that. In my opinion, if you're not into fighting games for that, then you should just quit playing them. Because that's the only thing that makes them worth engaging with to me. I mean, think about it. Why would you play any competitive game for that matter if that's not what you're in it for? Right? People will act like that they're supposed to be this fun in something else in the game besides the winning or losing aspect of it. And I don't know what to say, that's cope. It's hella cope. Like, you'll see all the time it's obvious that people that play games that have a competitive edge to them, they want to feel like they're good at something, right? It always feels good to do that. And, but then the ego gets in the way, and all of a sudden the game isn't fun because I can't win all the time. Yeah, and listen, we're gonna have to make a video talking about Tom Brady sometime, because I do think Tom and his podcast and the way he talks about the game, he is doing nothing but harm to the game, especially when you have a guy that's flat out lying about the way the game itself works. It's going to be its own video, but it's frustrating because everyone knows I like Tom quite a bit, actually, but I can't abide a guy who is just flat out lying about the current MK game for any other reason than he seems to have such a grudge against the community that he can't drop it. And Tom's got good reason to have that grudge, by the way, but it's to the point where I do not believe a single word out of Tom's mouth. I am not sure that a single thing he ever says on that podcast is what he really thinks, or if it's because the negativity is like the easy views, the easy attention. That is just how it goes. We know that, you know, when it comes to YouTube, negativity always wins in the algorithm. It always has. It probably always will. It's fun to talk shit about things, right? I'm not even saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but that also means that whenever you're looking at something like a channel that all does is shit talk on a game, you have to question their motive when they're being negative. Like, it is less financially profitable to be positive than negative. A lot of people don't believe that, but you can look up the statistics on this. You can look up millions of personal stories from YouTubers who can tell you this. Negativity always wins. So, I think that is something to pay attention to. But yeah, I do want to make a video, maybe a couple of videos talking about, like, not even directed at Tom, but I want to dismantle his talking points, especially when so many people repeat his talking points, right? Unfortunately, there are a lot of Tom Brady drones now in this scene, and they're the most obnoxious people right now to deal with. Like, and this is a problem too that I have, is also that Tom Brady is like associating with guys in fighting game YouTube who are either just deplorable or like should not be listened to. Like Mike Hollow. Mike Hollow is one of the stupidest people I've ever seen in my life. Like, anyone who buys into like the Sweet Baby Inc. conspiracy wholeheartedly is actually a moron. They have no idea what they're talking about. You should ignore anything they have to say. They have nothing meaningful to contribute to a conversation. And I've never watched a Mike Hollow video and felt like I walked away learning anything or reevaluating my perspective. Because I guarantee you, all he does is he's one of these guys that looks at what their trending discourse is and he just hops onto it. Like, he doesn't have his own content, if that makes any sense. Fuck. So I don't know. It's complicated when talking about this stuff, because, like, I do believe that there are some people who genuinely dislike the game. But there comes a certain time when your dislike of a game is not proof of anything about its actual quality. At a certain point, you're just refusing to engage with the game for what it is, and you want something that does not exist. And, I mean, that's easy to say, right? But I have witnessed it more in this game than any other NRS game. Especially now that we're seeing people, they want things back that they asked for to be gone from previous games, right? We're seeing people want traditional variations back. That's a stupid opinion. We're seeing people that want there to only be 1v1. That's more understandable, but there's not really an actual argument for it. Like, it doesn't make... The people who say they want a 1v1 only mode can never actually articulate their reasoning why they want dev time and money to be wasted on a feature like that in a game where the cameos are the core component of the game. And that's one of the things that bugs me the most, is no one who shit talks this game is ever able to articulate their actual opinions about it. They can't tell you actually why it's bad. Like, even if you tell them and explain to them on an objective basis that there is a way for you to counterplay things, and it just relies on you playing the Yomi more intensely, they'll say, no, I just don't want to have to deal with this, right? Now, of course, there are sometimes things that are imbalanced to a point where they still hamper the back and forth that's natural to a fighting game that they should be nerfed, right? Like, Raiden's a good example. Johnny, like, Launch Johnny is a good example. But most of the time, it is a skill issue. I'm sorry, it is just a skill issue. All the complaining I see, like, I'm gonna say it right now, and, I know I'm gonna get DMs from both Trey and Stand Up for saying this. Sub-Zero players have a skill issue. They just do. This is a hard thing to talk about, because I understand when your character was kind of got this known for his identity of working a certain way. I understand that. But I'm sorry, guys. You just have to accept that the Ice Clone will never be allowed to be like it was MK9 or X. The Ice Clone it's a cool move in concept, but it is a polarizing move. It creates bad friction experiences, like friction that's unrewarding to overcome, right? Like, on an actual psychological level, the Ice Clone is bad if it's good, right? And it still is good in this game, it just doesn't literally turn matchups into unwinnable matchups. And because Sub-Zero players are always used to having matchups where they either completely lose or completely win, I think that gives them a skewed view of playing the game in general. I think it does. I even talked with Mr. AP Chem about that, because he's a Sub-Zero player, and he's agreed too that people kind of got spoiled on the Ice Clone. I definitely think that's true. I do think with sub players it is a skill issue problem. Now, is that to say that he couldn't get some adjustments to make him a little better, or he could use them? No, I do think that he could use some improvements in some areas. I do think that, as Tom and David put it, he does have too many kind of safeguards put on him. But the problem is, they're acting like this character literally can't win a single matchup of the game. They, like, could truly believe that they are so godlike that they can overcome like literal 8-2-9-1 matchups. That's what sub players think they're doing. At least if you went by the way they talk, right? And it's very weird to me, but you know, some characters they just attract that like super beta, like whiny mentality, and for some reason that's what sub attracts. He attracts these like beta gaming morons that they just want to they want a brain dead game plan, and that's all they want to do. They don't want to play the actual fighting game that they're playing. I think sub players are just mad that they're having to play the game that everyone else NRS games has been having to play except for top tiers. And in this game, like, he's playing the same game as everybody else. I don't want to hear this, like, shit about how he can't play the game. It's just not true. It's objectively not true. Wow, I can't believe you guys up there. Okay. By the way, I didn't say that. In case anyone's wondering, at the time of recording this is actually my first time back on the game in like a week. So if you see me do some shit that looks kind of crusty, it's because, yeah, I have to get back to the swing of it. Come on, bro, just jump. Just want to jump. He wants to jump, bro. He wants to jump so bad. It was a good time to jump that time, though. Rip. So, anyway. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do... I want to start making a series of kind of real talk style videos. Because I do want to talk about the ways that people mischaracterize this game, or they just flat out lie about the way it works. Like, there's this, for example, there is this idea that armor on hit is a thing in this game. It is not. There is no possible situation in this game where you can get armored on hit. I've tried to replicate every single situation where this happens. The only way this could possibly be happening is maybe a rollback thing, but there is no armor on hit. You're just bad. You don't frame trap properly. That's all there is to it, right? That's all there is to it. If it comes out to a thing like you hit your down 3 or 4 from absolute tip range and your button just doesn't quite hit in time, that's not a problem with the game. That's your lack of awareness. You're supposed to know what to do at certain ranges that you hit certain things, right? So, yeah, it gets kind of tiring too, being someone who likes this game, because people knew me as being a guy who shit on MK11 all the time. And I did because I thought it was genuinely bad. I still think it's a genuinely bad game that had good ideas. But this is an excellent game that has good ideas, that just has a few hiccups that have to be addressed. This game is not dead. This game is not, like, doing horribly. I don't know. We'll see, but I think anyone should not judge the game off its current state. I think you'll know what to think for real once Takeda comes out. I think then, if you want to have problems, then you can have problems with the game. And you can criticize it, and then we can have a discussion from there. But I personally think right now, if you're bitching about the game, you're just doing so preemptively. We have to see what they're going to do when Takeda and Farah come out. Despite what some people are saying, it's a good sign they decided to delay Farah to come out simultaneously with Takeda. That also suggests that they probably are doing a bigger patch when it comes out. That tells me that they want to make sure that those characters fit into the next chapter of the game, probably. Or at least that's what I would suspect. Wow. But yeah, it's also like, I also want to do videos talking about my character's community. So, you know, I pretty much only played Smoke since week 1 on this game. And the amount of people who play this character, who just like Sub-Zero players, they want to play the victim card, and they believe this character is like so bad and can't win anything. Is like it's nuts, bro. This character has more than everything needed to win. But people want to play him wrong. I think it's a problem. They want an MKX character, and this character is not an MKX character. He's just not. Hold on, let me get a drink here. Really? Wow. This guy's crazy. Really? I tried to backdash that. That's crazy. Anyway, so I do really want to know what you guys think. Like, I know I have some people who watch my channel who they do have some of the pretty common negative opinions about this game, and I would like you to do some soul searching and actually tell me what it is that would have to change about this game for you to actually be satisfied, and that you need to think about whether or not it's really because you think something about this game is objectively bad, or your ego just can't cope with the game doesn't cater to you. Sometimes it just happens, dog. Sometimes the game just does not cater to you, you know? And part of adapting is finding an ability to force your way of doing things onto the game. Some games, they just don't allow you to do that, and then you have to adapt by becoming something you're not, you know? And not everyone can do that either. Sometimes that's just how it is. But yeah, I think after this match I'm going to call here for this little vlog. But hope everyone's doing alright, you know. Things are going alright. Like I said, just been binging Elden Ring. I might even make a couple of Elden Ring videos, because I don't like to do duels in Souls games anymore, because it's just too shallow. But I do like to do invasions, and I might do videos of me doing invasions and kind of talking about the build I use to beat the DLC with and stuff whenever that happens. I'm taking my time. Elden Ring was like an amazing game. The DLC is like, it's one of the best DLCs ever made for any game. It's basically a sequel. Like pretty much it's a sequel. So you know, yeah, it's hype. It's really hype. But anyway, thanks for watching. We close out this match here, and I'll see you guys later.
Final round. Fight!
Wow. Wow. What a way to end it. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.